Hey everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, it's an Ash Leaf Spirea. Now this is one of those trees that as you walk through a nursery and you see something that just kind of makes you look twice. This was it. It's an Ash Leaf Spirea, and I just loved the almost fern-looking branches, leaves on here, the fern structure. All these leaves, they're pointy, they're fern-like, and they have all kinds of stripes within the leaves. Super fun. And it grew like a weed last year, and then I thought I had so much death that I thought I'd lost it. Funny story, I think I might have a picture somewhere in the archives, but this fell into the fish pond one day too. I don't know if that did any harm to it, but I got some weeds growing in here. We fertilized pretty heavy. Pull out these weeds. And I'm not going to do a whole lot today. I just kind of wanted to introduce the ash leaf. I don't know if I've shot this on an episode before or not. I'll have to go back and look at the archives. But it's one of those trees that grew very, very fast. This branch right here, hard to pick up on camera, but this branch right here, it goes up over here, then back over here, then back over here. It's curving all on its own. So it's a tree that I probably wouldn't have to wire that much if it keeps growing with that pattern. I seem to have lost this side of the tree, so a little bit of death there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to see if we're just going to cut that one off. I'm just going to give it a little cut test right here. Yeah, we have no living tissue there, no cambium layer there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut that one off, and then we're going to go ahead and look at the rest of the tree. So we'll get in tight right here, and we'll try to cut this one off right down there at the base. A little bit of live tissue down there. The way this has been growing, that could sprout out some new growth. We do have a couple of other branches here that died off. So it grows a lot of branches. It's a little bit of a gnarly looking trunk. I've got this trunk this way, a little bit of root this way. This is a root rather, and a root coming out this way, and we'll have to see when we repot it. But now, you know, that might have to become the front of the tree. We lost this section right here. But again, that's just a stump. We want that to flow nicely into the new trunk line. All right. So I'm just going to spin this guy around and take a peek. We've got a lot of growth in here. We've got one branch in here. Look at this one right here. It's growing straight down on the inside right there. That's one of those we just can cut right off. It's growing down that way. We don't want that one. This one's growing in there too. Let's go ahead and cut that one off. Super small. And then there's some death there that's laying on that branch there. Now that just cleans that up a little bit more right there. So here's a nice look at that branch. Look at that curve. Up this way, up this way. Looks like the branch caught something here and broke off. Some of these are growing straight down. Cut that one off. So I just want to cut off branches that we just don't need anymore in this first flush of growth. It's going to push out more growth this year, I'm sure. A lot of sensitive branches in here, though, so we're not going to cut too much. We got a little old stump from a trim last year. So we're going to go ahead and cut this down a little bit more. This is where the new branch took off. Look at that, real nice. And again, if you can see, it grows to the left, to the right, to the left. There's got a wiggleness to it there. That's super nice. And if I have to in the future, I can cut this whole branch down to this one, so we have some taper from thicker to thinner. But I'm going to let this grow this year. I don't want to cut it too short, too fast. I will cut this one out here. And this one's coming back at us. Just to clean that up just a little bit. This one's kind of coming down and at us. We'll clean that one off. Now I've got some new growth right here and here, so that's all going to grow up real nice. We can actually cut this one off, I think. Just to let the sun get through some of there. Here's another branch that's growing right at us. There's an example. Let's go sideways. See how it's going 90 degrees from the trunk? And if this is the new front, it's going to be like right at the camera. We don't want that one, so we'll just cut that off. There's one in here. Look at that, growing deep inside the trunk. We'll cut that one off right there. Yeah, we don't want that one. No matter where the tree is going to be, that's in between two trunks, we don't want that. Now this one's growing down and in front of the trees. It kind of takes off from the look of the tree. Let's get rid of that as well. Oh, the pond is getting loaded up. You hear the gurgling? This one also comes right at us. Let's just cut it off. This one crosses the branches. Let's cut that one off. Now we have these two right here. And this one right here has died, but there's new growth right there. So let's just cut that down to there. Hopefully we've got every other right here. Boom, boom. So we'll hope that that gets stronger right there. And it won't get stronger if we have all this stuff covering it here. So that's where we cut some of these branches and let some light through, even with a thin area tree like this. This one is growing inside towards the back there. We'll cut that off. And so then we got open this up maybe for some growth right here. And this one is grown into tangle with this one, so let's cut this off right here. And we'll let this wiggly grow right here and here, and this is smaller over here, and we got some new branches growing on this side right there. Now if we follow this up and we have growth here and growth here and growth way up here and here, let's just take this off right here and make it go up and to the right and to the back over here. I'll cut this back one off. We'll leave it a little bit more light and airy up here. Here comes the wind. I'm going to cut this one shorter. And here's some death right here. We're going to cut this back right to here. All that was death right here. Didn't come back. Let's clean up that wound a little bit more. So then we have that one branch right there that survived, and we got this growing up this way. Hopefully we'll get some more back budding and growth there. Got a nice branch coming over here. Now this one has multiple branches. There's one growing down right here, so let's get rid of that one and that one. So we just have this main growth right here in here. And this crosses. Let's get rid of that one. And we're going to leave the rest of this alone, I think. We thin this out really well. This will let all this hopefully shoot up and grow. Now this has been growing in part sun, part shade. Now if I put this in the sun, I learned last year that in the sun these leaves will have a lot of damage from the sun. So this is a tree that grows really well in some early morning sun, after morning sun, and then midday shade. So that's where I have it. We'll keep it there so I don't all of a sudden burn all these really young, tender growth leaves in here that were kind of underneath some of the growth on the top of the tree. This could become the front if this heals really nice. But if this is the front someday, ooh, I don't know what happened to that right there. The wind just maybe knocked that one out. With this windy day, we got to be careful. So let's just cut off this one right here, so it's not as heavy in the wind as well. And there we go. Trim off some of the tips. And there we have a trimmed up tree. So that's the proposed new front of the tree. It's a little bit more skinny this way. As you look this way, it's kind of like this, right? But we're just going to hope for more growth. It's been doing really good in its spot, loving the shade midday and early morning and afternoon sun. We'll keep the Ash Leaf Spirea going, and we'll see where it takes off. So there is the Ash Leaf Spirea. Next up is the barberry tree that I got from my dad. More like a barberry bush, right? So the barberry, I grabbed them from my dad's yard, probably 30 plus years old in the ground. And you'll notice one of my neighbor maple seedlings dropped right into this tree, and we got that growing right there. So we have a little Y maple growing right here. We'll leave that in there for a future planting somewhere else. Go ahead and cut off those tips and see what kind of division we get on this tree, and see what this thing can do. We'll put this in some kind of forest, or who knows, we'll just let it keep growing. It's right in the corner of the pot, so it's going to have those roots that grow all in one direction, but we can fix that later. So this was one of the biggest barberries that survived from my dad's side of his house, and it's very gnarly. I've got all this old death over here and death over here. I didn't know what was going to survive. Barberries do have a tendency to throw up a lot of suckers, so you see there is growth right there. There's growth right there. This is still alive. This one not so much, but this one down here. And this isn't very attractive. It's a little bit unsightly there. So I envision taking this whole clump off one day. That's the back of the design right now. So if I take this section off right here, you won't even see it, and it won't be that big of a deal. So there is one piece of death right here. I can go ahead and take that right off. We don't need that. And these barberries, they do stay for a long time. That yellow inside bark, it stays around for a long time. This one isn't growing up higher than this, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this part off right here. There we go. And this would have to be chopped someday too. I don't know if I'll keep these just as this was an old clump tree, but it's got kind of a fun look in the back right there where all the growth is happening. So we're just going to try to keep this thing alive. So I'm just going to clean it up just a little bit today. I've got some growth right down here at the bottom, way down here. We don't need this. This trunk is super wide at the bottom. I don't want the energy going. That was a pokey right into my skin there. You gotta be careful with the barberries. They do have thorns. These right here too, I don't want these little suckers growing right at the front of this. That's going to maybe take energy from different parts of the tree, and so I'm just going to clean that up a little bit. Okay, as we look from the front, we got all this old, I like all this old stuff right here. If this becomes a fun tree, it'll be like, what happened to all of these? They look like they were naturally cut off. There was actually a rock embedded in here, I think, and right in here as well. So we can keep working at getting all this dead stuff out of here. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know what's all going to be alive the next time we repot this one, which will be next spring, I believe. So I've got this piece of growth coming right at us from the inside of the trunk, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that one. It's nice that this has some life to it and it wants to grow. This one I'm not sure what it's going to do. This one in the inside here. It's being blocked out by so much. It's got this funkier color. That's the new growth color, but it also looks a little weak and leggy. And all this looks nice and healthy. Just don't know where it's going to go and what it's going to do. I did notice last year, it seemed the more I trimmed this thing, it stressed it out. So I think from my experience with barberry, I don't want to take a whole bunch off and create too much stress. This branch right here, does it lean over too much over this, or does it, I think I'll just leave it alone right now. We'll just peek on the inside and see if there's any branches that are growing in directions we don't want. Like this one right here is going inside and up. Let's just take that out. You can see through the tree a little bit more. There's one on the inside back there that's growing really thin. Let's spin it around. Look at that. Really kind of thin, and don't know what that's going to do. We'll leave it there for now. The bottom leaves look pretty healthy. This could be a nice little branch to fill in some of that back space for 3-dimension. We just won't know until it gets a little bit older. So right in here, I got this branch right here, but then I've got a little sprout in here that's trying to grow. There, I just cut that off. There we go. We don't need that little one in there. And then you can see, this is where we chopped it, right here. And there's a big branch in the back growing out, but the chop is here in our line of sight. So I'll leave this branch for right now. And this one's actually growing from that back one. I'm going to cut that off. And this one can kind of maybe take over. And if this can grow thick, it can maybe hide some of that. It can grow up right next to this one, where we probably will chop this one down shorter one day. We'll see if I can break it, snap it, and break it off right here, because it's a little high right now. But this branch right here, these two branches are connected to this big old chunk back here, which has this life right here. So again, really gnarly structure. This was a big bush just trying to, you know, find the light. And these are all like almost infused together right here. So we will leave this for right now. And I think I'll leave, now I'm gonna take that little one off. Let's take that little one off. Give it some proper air. And for right now, I'm just gonna leave all this growth on here. Let's just see what it does. Cut off where there's no growth growing there. We'll just see what this green does here and see if it stays alive and kind of covers up some of this death. Now this is a deciduous tree, or I take that back. Yeah, this is a deciduous tree. These lose their leaves, and then they've been growing new ones back on. So, you know, we typically don't have a lot of this death on deciduous trees, but it looks so fun and gnarly and messed up, and it'll last this way for many, many years. Maybe this whole chunk will fall off someday and we'll have this living section stay on. But for right now, if this grows up into a tree right here, it looks kind of fun with just some old death here. Anything else I want to take away? This one back here is crossing too much on this old stuff. Let's come back over here and cut this old stuff off. There we go. And that cleans that up a little bit. We'll just let these continue to grow around this this dead branch here. And I don't think I'm going to thin it out anymore right now. I just wanted to kind of clean up this bottom just a little bit, just so I could see the structure. And we're just going to let that alone and let that keep growing. We'll put that back in the bench area. So there is the barberry. This one has some red colors to it and also some green. And then I have another barberry that's greener, lighter green. We'll finish up today with the second barberry. One of the other clumps I got from my dad is this lighter green one. So you'll notice there's no red hue to this one at all. So I have two very unique barberries, which is really fun. And this one just has the gnarliest of trunks. Again, this was a bush growing in the side of the house in a bed of rocks, and things were just trying to grow all over the place and reach up for the sun. And what I've noticed about barberries so far is you'll be growing them, and then all of a sudden you'll just have this little thorn section. It's just dead, and it just pops up, and look, it's sticking up a little bit here, and it's dead. Here's a section right here. Stop growing right there, dead. Right here, dead. So let's come around to the front here and see if there's any cleanup we can do on the barberry like we did with the bigger one. So it has all kinds of fun. It's like a multi-trunk, and look, here's a tree right here, there's a trunk right there, there's a trunk right there. This is roots going into the ground that lead up to the trunk back here. I don't even know if it's to this one, which we knobbed off. But here's a little bit of a sucker growing right here. Let's get rid of that. Now this one's getting a whole new trunk amongst all that mess. If I leave that go, that could be really super cool and just blend into all that down the road. So we're going to go ahead and just leave it for right now. I got a dead section right here though. Let's get rid of that. Got a dead section right here. Now if anybody knows a lot about the barberry tree, gosh, in the comments below, please let me know. I'm trying to not do a whole lot of work with the barberries this year, but I do want to clean it up a little bit to make sure that we have growth where I want it to grow. So look at that branch right there. This is all this whole section here is a dead knob right here. But then look at the tree that wants to grow right there. And there's a former trunk here, a former trunk here, and a former trunk here. A former trunk here, here, and here. These just grow like a tangled mess, which just makes it look really fun and old. It gives it a great age to it. And if it gets bigger and these thicken up, it'll be kind of fun to see what happens with it. So right here is another example. Let's cut that off right now. See if I can find my other pair of cutters. There they are. So here we have a branch right here that's growing straight up, and this is the old branch. So if you can look right there, there's the new one, there's the old one. let's just cut the old one out. And where I cut, this side was dead, and this side had just a little bit of life to it. And now it's a twin trunk in there. You see that? Two trunks growing from that spot. We'll just see over the time how that heals together. Maybe it'll look a little awkward. They are growing kind of straight up. But if I can just shave this clean a little bit now. All the other cuts I've made seem to heal over pretty nicely on these trees. Like right here, this is an old wound right here, and it looks like you could hardly see it now because of just the age look of this tree. Go in here and cut some more of these nubs off as we go. Just clean up some of that. And as things swell, you start to lose some of those marks. Yeah, there's a couple in here. One right here. I can just trim off some of those. It doesn't look quite as busy. Right in there, we got rid of some of those. These roots are fun. These are almost like an aerial root right here, and they're going down in there. Hopefully those are still viable and will stay viable. There. So as I cut more and more nubs off, it just looks like old, chunky, whatever's happening with this this beast of a tree. Now I do see one growth way in here that's just in there. Look at that right there. Let's take that one out right there. We don't want that one in there. Let's just crowd that up in there. Oh, there's a piece of pumice in there from repotting. Look at that. All right. I think we clean that out as much as we can clean out today. There's a little bit of growth right here. Just get my fingers in there and cut that off. Now, old chops that go to nothing right there. I don't think I can get in here with this, but that's an old stump right there. Yeah, I don't think I can get this tool around there. Yeah, I've got it a little bit. Let me see if I can get this in there then to finish it off. Yeah, I got that a little bit better in there. A little bit each year. That just cleans up this path right in here a little bit more. And I think that's all we're going to do for this mid-June cleanup. As soon as I said that, I saw this piece of death right there, this piece of death. And there's a piece of death right here. And there's a piece of death right there. Oh, one more. There. So we got new growth growing up. It's healthy. We cleaned up the base. Let's put this back on the bench, and that does it for barberry number 2. That's 2 barberries. I have 2 updates for today. Today's first update is the bench. So I just had the 2 benches before. I put some new posts behind the second bench and got myself a 3rd layer there. So I guess I can quickly update you on the forest. This is pretty exciting. This is the birch forest that went on the slab a few weeks back. We got the maple trees. I did trim them down a little bit since we put it on there. But I want to show you, it's hard to tell probably today, it's too bright, but this tree right here is just ever so slightly wanting to turn white. White paper birches. So that one and that one will go first. And there's little subtle hints. It's getting thinner bark, like it's going to start peeling like a white paper birch. Hard to tell in today's brightness, but kind of a fun little update there with the forest on the slab that seems to be very happy still. The last update for today is the blue spruce. Now this is the one I worked at the cabin first, and then this spring we put it in this pot. We talked about the reverse taper down there, and it had probably 3 or 4 times the foliage on this, and then all of a sudden everything looked like it was a goner. It looked like it was going to die, but then I started to see all of these buds in the top third of the tree, and all of this blue that's left is brand new. And I think we can keep it alive with this foliage if we keep a close eye on it. So we've got some new buds all the way over the tip. So it's going to be like a really thick, tall literati style tree, I believe now. We will carve away this section for some depth, probably some gins over there, and all of the life will be up here, and it'll be kind of a tall literati style tree, but very big right now and very sparse. But that's an update. Got to show the mediocre updates too, don't you? Yeah, because not everything turns out for us all the time. So that is the blue spruce. That is on the bench with the new display of all the trees, with the slab planting to the left as well. So there's our update for today. That is going to wrap up another show. We got the barberries taken care of, and we got that Ash Leaf ficus. Now that Ash Leaf ficus has really delicate growth in the beginning, and so as I was working, 1 or 2 of those trees with a big gust of wind actually snapped a little one of those real early growth branches. So you have to be careful. So I have it kind of protected behind the cabin here, so the wind's coming and it's blowing around and it's not too windy over there, and it's very shady over there in the midday. So that real hot midday sun won't get that Ash Leaf Spirea. Some morning sun, some afternoon sun, and it's loving life over there. And the barberries are back on the bench over here over my left shoulder. They've been loving the life in the kind of mediocre some sun, some shade as well. So I'm going to keep them right there and keep them growing. But that does it. Hey, we got some more stuff to do. It's hot today. I think I need something to refresh me. Maybe a bomb pop. When's the last time you had a bomb pop? I loved them as a kid, and you know what? I still love them now. I think I'm going to go unwrap one and have one next. Until the next time, hey, take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and we'll catch you all very, very soon.